What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the most important NYCFC talk show. It's time for the Dudes in Blue, episode number 167. 167. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm your host, Joe Amato, and alongside me, as always,
Antonino. Dude, what's going on?
not much. We got definitely a lot to cover tonight. It was a busy week for NYCFC,
So
and we're
much.
gonna kind of dive into as much as we can. And we got the Columbus match from the midweek to kind of touch on a little bit, but I think a bulk of the episode is going to be talking about the Hudson River Derby. Obviously, NYCFC coming away with a 2-1 victory in what was a pretty exciting derby. I would definitely say that a 9-point week for NYCFC, which is, we haven't seen one of these in a while. This is exciting, especially in this month. So we're going to talk about that. Maybe a little bit kind of wrapping up rivalry week. That's impossible to say.
It ends up coming out rivalry week.
Rivalry week.
like Elmer Fudd.
Like Mike Pecky is saying it. Rivalry week. I can't say it.
It's rivalry week.
Unbelievable. Anyway, yeah. So we're gonna dive into that. We appreciate you joining us. If you were in the Facebook Live feed, if you're listening on the pod, thanks for spending some time with us. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, we're at Dudes in Blue. That's the way to get a hold of us. We're going to open up the phone lines shortly because we definitely want to hear what you guys thought of the derby. And if you're watching on the Facebook feed, go ahead and share this video with your friends right now. Right now. Don't delay. Ahora. Let's do a quick little roll call, and then we'll dive into it.
All right. Who's here?
We have got the first one checking in is Jamal saying, "What's going on?" Andres, mis favoritos, caballeros en azul. I love it.
Aha.
Rajendra saying 9 points, baby. Felix, of course, dropping the yer. David from Eastern PA, what's up? Ronald checking in. Roger checking in. Lalo is upset at my jersey. Sorry, dude. And yes, New York is blue. But honestly, dude, like win, lose, or draw, it's still blue. It doesn't really.
It's always blue.
Doesn't really matter. Does not really matter.
Nope.
Okay. So, where to begin? Let's take a trip down memory lane. It's a long time ago.
Way back when?
In a city far, far away. In a place called the Bronx, Wednesday night, NYCFC took on Columbus Crew, picked up a 1-0 victory. I don't have a lot to say about this game. The midweek games are always tough, especially when you've got, two matches kind of bookending it when you're playing 3 matches in 7 or 8 days, however you want to look at it. And this was a strange game, strange game. 1-0 victory, a great goal from Tati Castellanos on an even more beautiful pass by Maxi Morales. But other than that, dude, game was flat, man. Game was flat for me, especially in the second half. You had more chances in the first, but NYCFC just could not turn up for that second half.
Yeah, the second half was definitely much more sloppy. It reminds me of when you see 2 heavyweight guys that have been going at it for 5 or 6 rounds, and all of a sudden towards the end they just start swinging freely, kind of going away from their game plan and hoping something lands at that point. And again, sometimes it works in your favor, sometimes it doesn't. And lucky for us, it wasn't able to come back and bite us. But 2 totally different halves. I mean, they played probably, like Dome said, the first half was some of the most beautiful soccer they've ever played, and the second half was some of the worst soccer they've ever played.
Yeah.
And I have to agree with that. And again, there are times where you've got to win games like that. It's just bound to happen with the way the schedule is set up and travel and how often you play and who's playing and things of that nature. But ultimately, I think it was a little disappointing. Not the result, because you're getting the results, but you're still not seeing the 100% NYCFC that can do it. You're not seeing that one dominating performance that says, "Hey, we're here, we're making noise. You need to, put some respect on our name." You know what I mean? You're just not seeing that. You're seeing flat halves, flat pockets of play for, 15, 20, 30, almost 40 minutes at a time, depending on, which game you're watching. And you can't really have that. You had the issues in Cincinnati where, yeah, you scored the goals, but you still didn't play. It wasn't like it's convincing. And now we're nitpicking now, but listen, at this point, this is the time of the season where this is the business. It's the business end of the year, and you've got to get things done, and you have to be in tip-top shape, and you have to be putting bad teams away, and you have to be playing good teams hard. And I think you saw more of what we can accomplish on Saturday night versus Wednesday.
Yeah, I think so. I was more disappointed in the way that we're playing against opponents that we should be completely dominating. That's what gets me. The scoreline in Cincinnati obviously proved that we should be dominating on teams like that, and we did. But the way that we did it was not necessarily pretty. Then we go back to Houston, we go back to games like that, where you get the results, but it's not necessarily that pretty. And like you said, this is the business end of the season, man. Like, this is when everybody should be firing on all cylinders. This is when everybody should almost be playing their prettiest, and we're not 100% there yet. I think yesterday or Saturday's game against Red Bull was definitely a much better game. Granted, there's always a piece missing. Whether we're not creating chances or we're creating so many chances but lacking the finishing. There's always one piece, and you want it all to click, and you need it all to click now, because this is the time where you're playing a lot of games. I get that, but this is where momentum really comes into play. So these 9 points were huge. Let's hope we take that to Vancouver. I know these games aren't always easy with with the jet lag and especially for us having to watch at 10 o'clock at night, all that kind of jazz. But it is what it is. So, again, walked away with the 3 points. That's what we wanted. Wasn't the prettiest second half. I think I tweeted, the soccer that they played in the first half, dude, stunning. Absolutely stunning. The quick 1-2 touch passing, it was like, wow, where did this team come from? And then they did this. The completely different team came out in the second half.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. We've seen it. It happen all the time. Look, back 3 years ago, I was calling this team Jekyll and Hyde. And sometimes it happens week to week. Sometimes it happens match to match. Sometimes it happens half to half.
That's the way it goes.
So, it is what it is. I don't really have much else on the Columbus match, dude, because, again, it was a little bit further back in the history books, and really the big game of note is obviously the Hudson River Derby. NYCFC coming away with a 2-1 victory. I think we should probably just kind of move on from that, unless there's anybody in the comments that has anything that they want to add on the Columbus match. What do you think?
No.
Very good.
Moving on.
Very good.
Listen, it's very difficult. Like we always say, it's very difficult on Mondays to kind of. It's not difficult to do 2 games and squeeze it in. It's just hard because that first game is usually so far away that it's already been talked about so much amongst ourselves that it's already become like old news. So it's nice to touch on if anything major happens. But again, I think we pretty much covered the key things. You had a great first half and a poor second half, and luckily we were able to keep it together and get the points out of it, which is the most important thing. And I think it gave us a good boost moving into Saturday, which we can segue right on into right now.
Look at that. Just like that. So, Saturday was kind of a thing. Big match. NYCFC taking on the Red Bulls. 2-1 victory, coming from behind. And it was basically flip-flop from the last derby, where we went up 1-0 and they came back to beat us 2-1. This was the opposite. They went up 1-0 early. We came back, took away the points.
Yeah, except our goals were legit and weren't caused by crazy corner and.
But our goal was scored off of a throw-in.
Yes. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I don't know if it was from the goal I don't know if it led to the goal being scored, but there was a play where Mata was coming down the sideline, and the ball actually did go out, and the ref didn't catch it because he couldn't see it. But from our angle, because the ball was in front of him, we actually saw it, and everyone threw their hands up at the one time. I think it was the play leading up to the penalty. The ball actually did go out of bounds. But again, very minuscule and not something where everyone's kind of stopping what they're doing and, everybody kind of played through it the way you should, but ended up in our favor nonetheless. But
yeah.
Again, just great it was a really great day for a game. The weather was perfect for the first time in a long time. Wasn't sweating, wasn't chattering cold, no rain, snow, sleet, golf balls, small cats and dogs. Very, very comfortable. And then when the lineup came out, I mean, I think that lineup with who was available, I think that's probably one of the best lineups you're going to see from this team put out this season.
Minus Tajuri Shradi.
Well,
that's just my personal preference.
With who was available.
That's just my preference. That's just the way it is.
With who was available, I think it was the. If you had stands in there, it's a different story. But
comment here on Facebook. Andres says, "Can we address the pregame awesomeness of Alex Ring's daughter? She punked the entire Red Bull team, dude. That was amazing. And if you guys didn't see it,
it's a couple places. We'll try to retweet it afterwards. But that was hilarious."
Yeah, basically just a giant FU to every Red Bull player as they came out of the tunnel, which is that's what you want to see.
It's not like she did anything wrong.
No. She's a little kid. She's a little kid.
but she's smart.
But she snubbed him.
She snubbed every single Red Bull player of a handshake, and it's funny because it wasn't like NYCFC just they came out. It was like Red Bull. Brad Stuver came out, and then a more Red Bull player came out, and she knew exactly what she was doing. It was actually really, really funny to see, and the facial expression was just great. Like, no, sorry.
Fantastic. It was great. It was great. She walked away without a yellow card, so we know that cards are in her blood, so she did okay. She did all right. It was great. It was a great way to start it off, and we finished off pretty great too. So, to the game, dude. To the game, because I want to get to the phone calls because I know some people are going to want to have some words about this match because it was so damn good. But right off the bat, Red Bull kind of played their game in the beginning of the game and pressed us high, and to our fault, we tried to play out of the back. We tried to play beautiful soccer, and we got punished for it by none other than Alex Muil, who, when he's scoring on you, you got real problems. So, ball gets lost in transition, deep in our own end, a couple passes into the net, and basically puts it right through Sean Johnson for the first goal. And right off the bat, you're like, here we freaking go. Here we go. We started off wonderful. Not a great goal to give up, but Red Bulls were pressing hard, dude. They played their game.
Yeah, but you know what? For me, at that particular moment in time, you're sitting there and you're scratching your head and you're like, it's coming. It's coming. So what are you going to do differently? Is your game plan playing out of the back strong enough to go up against this high press? And again, I think it goes back to the game against Atlanta. You have to have the courage to do it. You also can't play panic soccer. By panic, I mean rushing your passes, trying to get rid of it too quickly, or just not being confident enough in yourself on the ball. We definitely saw it later on as the game progressed. You definitely saw it more where Maxime Chanot had two defenders on him and wasn't getting rid of the ball, making himself enough space confidently and getting the ball up the field. I think you need that a lot when it comes to playing the high press. It's a little hard to play the ball over the top when you don't really have the target pieces to do so. I just don't think that we're equipped to do that, which makes these games difficult. But if you could stand up to them and you can, that high press brings with it a high line. So if you can get the transition game going the way we can with those 1-2 touches, you can get down the field rather quickly and you can start some like odd man rushes, so to speak. And you actually saw a couple of those, I think, earlier on in the second half. You headed away from where we're sitting. So yeah, second half. You saw a couple of chances, and a couple passes here or there earlier, and timing and whatnot. And the game's all of a sudden it's a crazy scoreline. But I think if you're going to see these guys again in the playoffs or anyone that's going to press high, I think you've got to know what you want to do, whatever it may be, and really go like 110% at it and make sure you're figured out before the game starts. Because if you start off shaky, sometimes it's just going down a goal changes your whole mentality, and all of a sudden you're playing a game that you're really not equipped for because you're trying to do too many things at once. I think for this game, I think it was very good that we were able to kind of sustain what we wanted to do and not play out of our means. We played within our means and we kind of settled down, and you saw a great product after that. Listen, you saw a ton of scoring chances this game. I mean, it was really, really fun to watch, and it made the game really exciting. Even though the scoreline finished, 2-1, it's a really fun game to watch.
Yeah, I think anytime you create a lot of chances, it's fun to watch, right? So that's what we did. I mean, look, when you hit the post 3 times, when the woodwork keeps the ball out of the net 3 times, twice on poor Tati Castellanos. My God, he could have had a goal. He could have had a couple goals. And an Heber's smash, absolute smash off the half volley. This game is easily 5-6 to 1 or to 2, because in fairness, Red Bull had a couple chances. Bradley Wright Phillips had a near sitter that was kind of put a little bit out of touch. And, so to be fair, we definitely had a lot more control of the game. Toward the end, it looked like we were getting a little bit shaky. But look, Maxi Morales wins a penalty, right, off of a great pass from Matrica. Matrica had a decent game, better than we're used to seeing out of him, at least what I feel. Yeah. And look, great pass from him. Gets the ball to Maxi in a dangerous area, and Murillo fouls him in the box. Very clear foul, very clear penalty. Was not too thrilled when I saw Maxi Morales step up to the penalty spot, dude. I don't know about you.
It's scary. It's almost like when Josh Saunders was in the goal.
You might as well have Josh Saunders take the penalty. I mean, like...
Again, he had a string where he put him in, but he's definitely missed more. He's missed quite a few this season. I think he's missed three or four at least at this point.
At least 3.
So it's a little shaky, but again, at some point you can't get better at it if you don't get the opportunity to do it, and if you don't have the confidence to do it, just training and games are 2 totally different animals when it comes to stuff like this. That's very mental and very split second, in the heat of the moment type thing. So. Good for him. Again, it was a little scary, but the fact that he put it in, it just made it that much more sweet.
It definitely made it better. It definitely made it better just to pick up that goal in the first half, because we went a half an hour without picking up a goal to answer to their 10th minute goal. So for us, and for Maxi, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, like that's good for him. We want him to score those penalties. We need him to score those penalties, and we don't want to doubt him. We want to be able to trust him when he goes up to the spot, just like we did David Villa. And because if he's our designated penalty taker, dude, put him in the net. Yeah. That's your job.
That's it. Yep.
So we don't want to doubt him. We don't want to feel like that when somebody takes a penalty. We want to feel excited, like this is almost a guaranteed goal. Yeah. But nevertheless, a good pass by Matrica. You fast forward to the second half, goal wise, and dude. I just want to hug Heber. Like, I just want to just give him a big old Heber hug. You know what I mean? Like, this
nice.
Dude.
I like that. Heber hugs.
This dude is dirty. Not only did he almost score a Tommy McNamara-like goal on steroids, but he put in one of the nastiest goals we're going to see from an NYCFC player. Off of the throw-in, very quick ball, gets out to Anton Tinnerholm. Tinnerholm does a really good job fighting off Danny Royer, by the way, to get into the box.
The whole game.
Tinnerholm's phenomenal.
He's really, 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 I would say for me, because we've seen him the entire season, last year and this year, and we know how he plays, I think from the other fans of this league's perspective looking in, dude is so underrated. So underrated.
Completely.
He does such a good job on both sides of the ball, which is difficult with the amount of work that he has to do and the amount of minutes he's played this season.
Yeah, just absolutely amazing. The way he fought off Royer to get into the box and to find, I don't know what the Red Bull defenders were doing, but the ball finds Heber slightly behind them, but he backheels it through Robles' legs. I mean, dude, when I was watching this in real time, it was like, okay, you knew it was a goal, like you knew it went in,
but you didn't know how.
But you didn't know. But you didn't know how.
And think about from where we sit.
It's impossible to see.
There. It's impossible to know. All I know is I looked up and saw the ball was in the back of the net, and then I looked at my dad, and he's like, "Who scored?" And I'm like, I couldn't tell you.
But dude, it wasn't even until you saw the camera in the net that you saw how disgusting and how beautiful this goal was. I mean, it was just.
Listen, it's there's that mentality that only certain players who play the position have. And if you don't have it, it makes things like that almost impossible to do. But when you have it, you can make absolute magic. And now that I think about it, I just think of how many opportunities similar to this we could have had earlier in the season had this guy been here.
Sure.
When the season started.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or if you had anybody who could play like that, or even if Tati was a little bit more
refined,
in form at that point, in form in the beginning of the season, which is difficult, but I think you see how important Héber has become to this team. And another player who I think, for us, he's not underrated, but I think he's flying under the radar because of guys like Vela and Ibrahimovic. But make no mistake about it, this guy has a lot of weight on his back because he's been carrying this team for a good chunk of this season.
But that's just great. And dude, he looks like he has so much fun when he plays, and I love that.
Always.
I love that. Like, win, lose, or draw, the guy's got a smile on his face.
I will say that for any sport. For any sport that I watch, I've always gravitated to enjoying more so watching the players that had fun while they played. Now, I understand when you're losing at certain points, you can't really it's not losing is not fun. But if you can find the good in it and the players are positive like Héber is, I'm talking about guys like Nick Swisher, always play with a smile on his face. There's just people that have that infectious positivity about them, and it makes the game so much more enjoyable and fun to watch. And on top of it, you create a camaraderie between the players that solidifies their relationships. And you see him and Tati off the field are like, they're like best buds.
You saw their little goal celebration.
Yeah, and on the field, it translates. Believe me, it translates. And you're seeing it right now. You're seeing two players playing at the top of their game. And again, just because Tati didn't, get on the scoreline, the score sheet does not mean that he had a bad game. He had plenty of opportunities.
No. I can't fault Castellanos at all.
Just got unlucky. And that second one, man, that ball was just rolling, and everybody was like, oh. And as the ball rolls, like, oh.
Yeah. And you saw Héber coming up, trying to make that trailing run to get it in there, but it just didn't happen, It's just, it is what it is. But look, again, you walk away with the result. You walk away with the 3 points against your rival at home on a beautiful wonder goal. Just absolutely incredible. Dude, we got to open up the phone lines here because I didn't realize what time it was here.
Open them up.
Because we're going to talk about this game a little bit more. 646-535-7982. We'll take your calls one at a time. Just don't drop an F-bomb. That's the only thing you can't do on the show. All right? Just don't, please. I'll get to as many calls as we possibly can. We'll try to keep them short, brief, and to the point. And we're going to talk Hudson River Derby a little bit more. 646-535-7982. Getting ready to take your calls, guys. Looking forward to it. Yeah, dude, I was excited about the result. I was excited about, them proving me wrong about a month where we're typically garbage. And the results show that. We're getting the results. They're not the prettiest. I'd say the Red Bull game was probably the nicest result that we've seen as far as like the way the game is played. But
still room for improvement. You still have room for improvement.
You got room to improve. And you're going to have to. With the playoff format this year, where you're gonna come up against teams like Philly, you're gonna come up against teams like Atlanta, you're gonna come up against Red Bull. Those are the games you got to show up for. You have to, and that's why. Look, that's why I was so down on this club was because they weren't showing up. I mean, they were getting the results, but they weren't showing up against teams that they should be smoking.
Yeah. And
then against teams that would have had a hard time against, they had a major hard time, like Atlanta. So this is positive. This is positive. Picking up these points. There's a good chance now, mathematically, of us finishing at the top of the East. Supporter Shield might be slightly out of reach, but for us to be able to finish top in the East would be absolutely massive. Absolutely massive.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that 1 week bye is huge, especially when you have such a condensed schedule at this point in time. And to boot, you play well at Yankee Stadium, so assuring yourself that first place spot in the East means you'll be there the entire time. All right,
we got a call, and I already know who it is. I know who's calling. Felix.
Yeah.
There he is. So, Felix, what's up, buddy?
Hey, man. You know something? My voice is finally coming back. I was sounding pretty rough at work today. 9 points, guys. Let's get it.
Yes.
We knew we could do it, and we did it.
So let me ask you there, Felix. Ger Beha on Facebook just said, so now in Dome we trust? ? I'm going to throw that to you.
Well, to be quite honest with you, I think in Dome we trust right now.
Okay.
I mean, you know, there were a couple, you know, there were a lot of downs this season, a lot, you know, a few peaks, a lot of valleys. But I think right now what this team is showing is Dome's tactics and how they really work together and all that kind of stuff. I really don't believe we've seen 100% from this team just yet. I don't know. I really have that feeling like we haven't seen their best football as of yet. So, you know, I'm definitely expecting a lot more, you know, as we go into this stretch run, and definitely hoping to see a lot more victories. We got a lot of games in hand still. We have a couple, actually. We're knocking on the door of first place right now, and I think we're going to go for it.
It's certainly possible.
Absolutely. And I think, again, if you know this team is not firing on all cylinders just yet, and you're coming away with results the way we are, you got to feel confident moving forward, because if you're already winning and you're not playing up to 100%, when you play up to 100%, it means you're going to be winning these games. You're going to be playing very well, and you're going to be winning games that you should be winning, and you're going to be putting up good performances against teams that that are difficult to play against. So I think by far this is one of the best months of August that we've had so far in terms of results.
Yeah.
I'm just looking right now. It looks like we got this month you've got 6 games played. So that's what? 18 points?
Yeah.
18 points, and you've got so far just how many points we got out of this month? I'm counting. I'm terrible at this.
12.
1, 2, 3, 4. You got 12 points out of a possible 18 so far. Not terrible.
No, not terrible. Look,
Not terrible.
you got 3 games in hand. No, I'm sorry. You got 1 game in hand on Atlanta, and you got 2 games in hand on Philly. A point behind on each. So definitely in phenomenal shape. Felix, who is because we're gonna move on to dude of the week. Who is your dude of the week?
I got only one nomination for Dudette of the Week right now. I already said Dudette. Alex Ring's girl. Okay? The craziest face ever. Like, I could never put on a face like that. You understand what I mean? So, little Ring, she gets Dudette of the Week, in my opinion, guys.
She
stole the show. She really stole the show.
She really did. Come on,
Joe.
Come on, Joe. You know she did. Come on, bro.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. Can we get the people in the comments to agree?
Come on, comments is good. You know what it is. Alex Ring's daughter. Dudette of the Week. Y'all know what it is.
We already got a couple of comments going here for this, so thank you, Felix. So
Roger knows what's up. I see him with that. Roger knows what's up. Shout out to the homie Roger.
Felix, are you excited about watching a game at 10 p.m. Eastern on Saturday before we let you go?
Hey, listen, man. A couple beers, a couple friends. Why not? Let's get it.
Listen, if I have a couple beers on Saturday before the game starts, I will be asleep by 10 p.m.
Lightweight.
Listen, it's what happens. This team drove me to drink like crazy at the beginning of this season, and now I'm paying for it. Now I'm paying for it.
Yeah.
That's
Well, you gotta ease yourself in there.
I'm easing myself right now.
You got to train. You got to train for it, dude.
It's delicious.
You got to train for it. Felix, it's always a pleasure having you on, buddy. We really appreciate it. You're still batting 1,000, my friend.
Hey, man, you know what it is? I do it for you guys, man. Guys, love being on. All the homies on the comment section right now. Love all of y'all. 9 points, baby. That's all it is. Let's go.
There you go. Felix, we'll catch you next time, buddy.
Take care, gentlemen. Peace.
Bye.
You got it.
Always love him.
Always fun. He's the best. Actually, so it's funny. He actually he was standing on the bench that the pitchers usually sit in to watch the game during baseball games, and he's standing up there with DMX and I think it was DMX and might have been Quinn from Impractical Jokers, and they're waving the flags and getting the supporter section going. Just really, really awesome. This game brought out a couple of new things in terms of off the field stuff that was pretty cool to see. But again, just a lot of fun, and I haven't seen the stadium like that in quite a while.
No, for sure. 646-535-7982. We still got time to take a couple calls. If you want to jump in, talk Hudson River Derby, talk NYCFC, maybe even talk a little bit of MLS. There's a lot of other stuff that happened this weekend. Yeah, dude, just a good atmosphere. You want to see the stadium full. You want to see the fans in the seats. And look, if you're not going to show up for Red Bull games, you ain't showing up.
Can I just say, I don't know what happened, but when did DMX turn into Danny Glover? Like, when did he get that old? Like y'all gonna make me lose my mind turned into y'all gonna make me forget my keys. I felt so old, and I'm not that old, but it's just he's they say some people age like fine wine. He's aging like milk.
We got another call coming in. Let's see who we got. Hey, what's going on? You're on with the Dudes in Blue. Who are we talking to?
It's Uncle Dom from Washingtonville.
Oh, it's Papa Dukes.
Uncle Dom. Everybody say hi to Uncle Dom. What's up, dude?
Listen, I can't take any more of these referees from the U.S. Soccer Federation.
Oh, boy.
How horrible. It's unbelievable.
Well, yeah, referees are referees. Nobody ever likes them. Like, who wants to be a referee? Like, think about it.
Terrible job. It's a terrible, terrible job.
I think he hung up.
Even when you're good, you're bad. Listen, that's all you need. It's like the one thing. It's like Uncle Dom's thought of the week.
He dropped in, was like, referees suck, and then just click.
If you know my father, you're glad he hung up because there was no stopping his F-bombs.
He was like, I need to control myself. That was amazing. That was probably like the best drop we've ever had. He was like, referees suck. Have a great night. Uncle Dom coming in with the call. Love it.
It is a difficult job.
But who wants that job?
Yeah,
like you know what I mean?
You know what I'm all for? I'm all for adding one more person. I'm all for adding one more referee. Add another not another linesman. Add another referee. Figure out positionally what's going on where and who can get, working on angles and things like that and trying to see things, because there are quite a few things that are missed during the game that can really change the outcome. And I think VAR has, helped with that. But there are instances where VAR really just doesn't, it really doesn't really work. It's just so difficult. There's, it's that offside by a hair, it's the referee's word versus yours, and it's difficult. It's very hard.
I have something to say.
Yeah, sure.
Can I go on record? Can I just go on record? I'm going to give you my opinion on offside, and you guys can tell me if you agree or disagree. Just make the damn rule. You got to be completely past the last defender. Done.
Your whole body.
Whole body. Not your armpit hair, Raheem Sterling. Not your finger, because that's not a playable part of your body. Make it full body, past the defender. The calls are black and white. It's nice and simple. Away you go.
I think you eliminate some of the gray area doing that, and that's okay.
But the reason why I'm saying this, and I don't want to get into a giant VAR discussion, but this is the problem with VAR. VAR is not getting things too often incorrectly. They're actually getting them to the letter of the law correct. Now, if we have this technology, these people, these referees, these people that are watching and scrutinizing these little things that would change the outcome of games and are getting these calls correctly, then the rules need to be modified, because the rules took into account discretion. And when you take discretion out of the game, the rules need to be rewritten.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I don't know if it's too much, Donald, on Facebook. Donald says it might be too much. Dude, you got to be a better defender.
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay. How much of an advantage is having your shoulder in an offside position to an attacker?
No, it's
how much of an advantage is having an entire leg in front of the last defender an advantage?
It's difficult. I think it depends on if the defender's got his back to the goal and you're facing the goal and you're a leg ahead of him, he still has to use that time to turn and race you, and you've almost got a couple foot lead depending on how far in front you are. I think it's a slippery slope. I think there's too much interpretation. If you're gonna do it, then you're going to start with the same thing. You're going to start with, his finger was in the line of the defender. And, it's like, it's a whole batch of difficulty. I think more so the thing you want to worry about, I think, is the handball. I think
please, what a mess.
The handball is just, it's when it's slowed down versus real time, I think you could see even fouls in the box.
Everything looks worse in slow motion.
It's very difficult. So I think, listen, any handball in the box, if the ball goes in off of it, it's just not going to count. If it hits your hand and listen, if it hits your hand, it hits your hand. What are you going to do? Then you'll get players that'll purposely try to hit your hand, and then where do you go with that? It's like it's never ending. Wherever you draw the line, someone's going to have an issue with some type of play that's going to happen that's going to cause mass controversy.
I don't want to get into
VAR, but listen, especially when you look at Red Bull, who benefited greatly from it. Was it even used against DC on that phantom foul?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't even think they used it. I don't even think they called it, and that was blatantly missed. I mean, that wasn't even close.
Yeah.
Look, give them a game.
I'm pro VAR. I like it.
Yeah.
I want the calls correct. That's all I want. I want the calls to be. I think that's what we all want. I think we all want the calls to be correct.
Whether it's for or against you, I don't think it's the difference. I think you want it to be right.
The argument of not having an argument, or not being able to debate with your friends at the pub with VAR, I think VAR is causing more conversation than not having VAR. So we're talking about it more than we ever talked about referees. I mean, give me a break, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
you're right.
And now that
right.
all the major leagues have it in play, it becomes more of part of the conversation. I mean, Serie A started this weekend. You had La Liga, Premier League, Liga, and Bundesliga. Everybody started up the last couple of weeks, and the Premier League's doing it right. Everybody's doing it right. But now everybody's getting upset. Now that the calls are correct, now you're upset about the rules. So
you know what it is? It's always going to be, you're always going to be upset with the calls that go against you. It's just the way it is, and it's always a travesty, and it's always the end of the world. And in the grand scheme of things, for as many times as your team will not benefit from a call, your team will benefit from a call eventually, and it'll even itself out. It's just the way.
VAR giveth and VAR taketh away.
Exactly.
We've been on the receiving end of it, both good and bad. It's the way it goes. But guess what? You can still argue. We're arguing. That's what I like.
Yeah, of course.
We're debating. This is the conversation that we're supposed to be having. Anyway, that was a major tangent. We got about 5 minutes left in the show. If you want to get one last call in, 646-535-7982. Dude, the last thing that I wanted to touch on for NYCFC was Moderita's boneheaded red card in stoppage time. A bad look. Moderita has been known for this before, picking up silly red cards. For me, at the death of the game, with minutes left, you're giving Red Bull an opportunity and having them play up a man for what was 6 minutes of stoppage time almost. It was something like that.
6 minutes.
For me, boo on Moderita. That's a thumbs down. You're going to get a big thumbs down for me on that one. Very, very silly. Just move on. Get the game over with. You're almost there, and you got to go ahead and do something. It's just silly.
I think it's an unfortunate situation where he was being tested by Murillo. I also think Kaku got an elbow in on Collins earlier on in that sequence, which kind of pissed a couple people off. But ultimately, you've got to be bigger than your opponent. And I do think that Murillo should be at least yellow carded. And I think he got a yellow earlier in the game, so that would be retroactive.
I agree. Murillo was just as guilty.
He baited him into it, but you got ultimately you have to know where you are and know what you're doing. And you could have if they scored,
that's on you, buddy.
It could be on you. So again, just got to be a little smarter moving forward.
And if you're in the comments right now, and you can remember the last time this happened, Moderita, I'm telling you, I swear, I could swear that Moderita has gotten red cards at the death of games for stupid stuff like this. At least one other time, possibly twice. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I swear I'm telling you it's happened.
The red cards for us have been very few and far in between. The ones I can remember are Amagat got one.
Oh, within the first 15 minutes of ever putting on an NYCFC jersey? Yeah.
And then you had the big one that was
Yangel Herrera, Chicago Fire, in the 8th or 10th minute, something like that. Beautiful game.
After that. And then you got Callens with the slap in the face. In the playoffs versus Columbus.
Oh, the Terminator. Yes, he came out of nowhere and just
whacked him.
Does this one count? David Villa's around the back slap of the I think it was a Houston Dynamo player in preseason?
That was a slap.
No, he slapped him. I mean, it was on video.
Listen, it gets heated, and I understand, but ultimately, in moments like that where there's so little time left, and all you have to do really is stand your ground and hold on. You just gotta be the bigger person there.
It's not like you're making a statement at the beginning of the game with a big challenge, a big tackle. This is at the death of the game.
Yeah.
You got the lead, and now you're crippling your team by going down a man.
Yeah, we got lucky,
silly.
And they were exhausted. They were exhausted at the end of that game. Chanel and Tinnerholm really, really, really put in the work that game, just keeping everything.
Roger on Facebook says that was also the worst headbutt ever. Like, I wanted him to connect. At least connect with it.
Listen, if you're gonna do it, you better earn it. They always say if you go for it, if you're gonna get the red, A, you gotta earn it, and B, if you can, take one of their guys with you.
That's it. You better not miss. If you're gonna take a shot, you better not miss. Now, okay, Khalil on Facebook is saying, to be honest, Moderita getting that card just adds to his stock. Not mad that he got it, but you would have been mad had Red Bull scored immediately after on that set piece, or on anything else after that.
Oh, you know who else used to do at the end of games? R.J. Allen.
He would do it at any time.
He used to foul people at the end of games, and I think we dropped 4 points because of him in a matter of like 2 weeks less. Not last season, but the last season he played for us. Yeah. Oh, a lot of fun. Of fun. Remember all these fun times. But hey, shout out to, I don't know what it is, but not even a shout out, but why does every Red Bull coach has to cry after a loss? Chris Armas was complaining about NYCFC wasting time.
Oh, yes.
And we would never do that. We would never do that. You are full of it, sir. Every team does it. It's part of the game. If you don't think you do it, and you do it a lot.
You're
talking about guys who get injured, who go back on the field to stop the play, and guys who stay down constantly. It's a joke. At some point, you got to stop making excuses and just be like, listen, they beat us. They had more chances. They played better. We have to come back next time and just work a different plan or work our plan better. Just take the L. Take the L and be done with it. Why you gotta cry? Why you gotta soil it for? And not even us, his own fans are calling him out on it.
Yeah. If your team is allowed to throw in a corner, then we're allowed to waste a little bit of time. You know what I mean? Like, that's it.
I can see it was not that it was. I don't want to say,
dude. I didn't feel like we were though.
Here's the thing. It was strategic, and because I was sitting right there in the set, you saw it a little bit more prevalent. Chanel would constantly Chanel and Tinnerholm were constantly making the ball girls switch balls and throw in different balls in when they didn't really have to. Chanel would like kick the ball off of the scoreboard and come back into play, where he would actually have to jog back, kick the ball off the field so they could resume the throw-in and things like that. I don't think it necessarily was too much. I think they started it very early.
Yeah.
I think they started doing it in like the 76th or 77th minute, where you could start seeing certain things like that. Usually it's the goalkeeper that does it. And usually the goalkeeper gets the guard for it. But they listen, it happens. And you know what? If you didn't like it, you should have scored 2 more goals.
You could have. And you could have. So, guys, this has been fun. Episode number, what did I say this was? 167, because I can never remember what number we're on. I have to literally write it down at the beginning of the show, because otherwise I'll forget. We've got Vancouver away. Late game if you're on the East Coast, 10 p.m. Eastern. I think it's going to be on Yes. If you're going to watch that game.
Yes.
It's going to be a late one, but I will be on my couch. I can't promise that I'll be awake, but I'll be on my couch in front of the game. Whether I'll be watching it in full consciousness will be to be determined. But one thing that is for certain is that we'll be back here Monday night for episode number 168, talking about that game and the podcast on Tuesday. We've got we had some good calls tonight. Thank you so much for the callers. We had Felix calling in, Uncle Dom totally coming in with probably the best call we've had. For sure. And this is great. Share the broadcast, share the pod with your friends if you guys listen. If you leave us a review on Facebook or Apple, that'd be fantastic. We really do appreciate it. Dude, anything else before we wrap up? I pretty much just wrapped it up.
No, you just no, you're good. I would have to unwrap in order to get things done. So we're just gonna leave it wrapped.
We're wrapping it up. Guys, New York is blue. That's it. That's really all we needed. But until next time, stay
blue.
Blue.
There you go.